Okay, so next step, we just made our vase and we want to actually see what we can do with it. So a bunch of new things, modify the shape, add waves, maybe then combine it with other different shapes we made before, create multiple walls, whatever. But that's gonna be topic for another time. Now we're gonna focus on the basics, so we're just gonna add the base. We click on the button here at the bottom, and once we do that, the width of the base will show up. It's empty because we did not load the model yet. So we go in the input out tab and we import our geometry. That will be test03 for me, and open it up. Takes some time to load. Okay, there we go. It is now imported. So we imported the base, and all we can see now is just the base layer. We won't see, for convenience, the rest of the object. Maybe we move it in a way that we actually have a nice view over the top view, and zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we imported our base, and let's see what we can do. We have the usual display option with the show input geometry, which is actually the boundary. You can see it white, and everything else exactly as it was before. Here we actually define the most basic parameter of our baseFill. So first of all, the type. We have concentric accurate, which spiralizes the boundary towards the middle, while strictly respecting the extrusion width that we're gonna set. In fact, we do it straight away by adjusting this slider. We can see the width of the extrusion changing. So this doesn't affect the quantity of material you're throwing out. It's just the distance in between different toolpath lines, right? A good starting point is, of course, the width of your extruder, but that's just a starting point. You may have to make a couple tests to find the best value that works for you. I know, as a matter of fact, that 1.3 works very well on my 1.2 extruder. So that's what I'm going to set here. And this other slicer sets the number of layers. So 4 up to 5. Now we're gonna print in spiral mode, and with spiral mode what works best is using an even number of layers, either 2 or 4. Because this way you print the boundary, print the base, go up, print the base, print the boundary, and start a spiral. You can of course do it with even, but then you have an extra movement to the center and or to the side, and remember that in slice up it's strictly continuous extrusion. We don't have retraction, and we don't use retraction as a core value of life. Really, never pull back. Besides that, yep, I gonna set 2 layers here, which works well. And I also, well, actually gonna set 1 just to better illustrate what's happened when you select concentric loose. Concentric loose is a more creative way of creating the spiral. So it's spiralized literally, and it doesn't strictly respect nothing. It's very disrespectful of the distance you set, which can be great if you're trying to create some weird pattern or shades. But normally with plastic, I've been told with clays what it does is just a huge mess. So maybe avoid it, or give it a try if you're brave. We're gonna take a look straight away at the advanced tab. So here we have some options that only work for the concentric loose, which is actually this path balance option, which allow you to push, push the path more toward the boundary like this, or more toward the center like this. And you can of course use some extreme values like that, and then you have this option to equalize the path, try and make it a little bit more, I don't know what. Anyway, this is it. This of course doesn't do nothing when you select concentric accurate. Instead, when you select concentric accurate, the option you have is that of adjusting the seam. So the seam in this case is happening exactly here, and it's basically the path that brings you from one loop to the next one. You can make it very small, something like this, and you see it's gonna push against it. This is gonna probably make a mess, and you can make it also very wide. which probably is gonna leave some gap in your design. So what we do is, I don't know, in my experience, some middle value like that works well, but you know, you may want to run some tests and find what's work with you. There is also this nice option, which is infill perimeter overlap. Basically just set how much your path goes towards the boundary. So when it's set to 1, the first layer of the infill is exactly coincident with the boundary, which usually is not a great idea. And when you set it to 0, there is totally no overlap, which could leave some error in your design. So usually I use a small value for plastic, which works well. And of course you have XY resolution, which you should not touch unless you have some specific needs, very large design, very small design, or you just see something not working as you would expect. So I go back and set the layer number to 2 because I want 2 base layer, and that's gonna be my design. I'm happy. So I'm just gonna call it whatever I want and download. And that's it. Save it, and also this step is complete, and we'll see the next step. Bye.